Buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, as the love and support everyone shares with me. From the heart, gracias. Also, do please like, share, and subscribe. As hype the video. It helps the message get out. I appreciate every one of you. Gracias. Well, everyone, today I'm going to address the elephant in the room, or should I say the main question I've been asked, which is about Tigre. Is he out? Is he really doing some things that really don't make sense? I'm trying my best to be as respectful and to answer the requests everyone asks me of. But you guys know I only do it if I could put a personal story, you know, behind it. But before I get into it, let me start off this one with, I'm not glorifying nor tigre, nor that lifestyle inside, right? At the end of the day, the message is, to be free, to show value to those that deserve to be valued and not give up your life, to go through what you need to go through, but at the same time, always manage that pedestal, what's important, But anyways, I want to take you back to the last story I spoke about Tigre, right? When we were in Palm Hall. And this was a different incident. It happened with a homie from Little Valley. He was a big dude, a big dude. Not fat, but he just had that genes in him, right? It was they called him Conejo, and he had been back there before I even got there, right? He was one of the frontliners, def to call on the Rutina lines, right? And he got along pretty good with Tigre, if I should say, because he was just that type of individual, that más chingón que wow type of cat that thinks he's a level 12 and, just run across them individuals that need to be brought back to earth or to land or put their feet back on earth. And the only way in prison is with steel, right? But anyways, you're in a spot where you really can't. So I remember, the yard when we went out, Tigre used to give us 5, 10 minutes to say cue to everyone, pay our respects, pass around whatever needed to get to where it needed to get. Then Rutina, right? And it was a whole yard. Again, he would only give us 5, 10 minutes at the end of the yard before yard recall, and it was to say medio gusto, hope you enjoy your day, whatever, and say hasta luego, see you on the next yard type of thing. It was his program. He was tough with rutina, but that was his mentality. His mentality was to build a battle, right? And as you guys know later on, it was his whole mentality, out with the weak and in with the vatos that could hang, the vatos that didn't use. Because in these rutinas, there would be sometimes there would be couple pilis that would join for a minute or two, but mainly they're back there in their corner doing their thing, And anyways, getting to the point of the video or of this, there was another camarada from East LA. I don't recall the neighborhood. Do excuse me. He had just gotten there, right, from uh from a GP, and he wasn't in shape. You know, it should be respected, right? They're in GP. They're not keeping up with rutina. A lot of camaradas, they got habits, whatever. You know, again, that don't make them any less of a camarada, right? It's part of we come from the ghetto, so come on, it's to be expected. And he just couldn't keep up with rutina. For some reason, this vato conejo though he grabbed a liking to him, right? We did front line, 3 lines. It was myself, conejo, and then there was another homie that usually flip flopped a lot, right on the third line. That was on the front, and newcomers usually will go to the back, but Tigre was on it. Tigre was serious about his stuff. You need to get into shape ASAP because of this, and that. You should be already in shape, regardless of what you're doing. You should always maintain a strong body, mind. It's just how he thought, right? And we could all see it back there. Tigre used to speak out loud, and it was like throwing rocks at the other Pilis that were there, And he wasn't liked by a lot of the old timers that were there, like Rolu and oh, most of the old timers that were there didn't like him because they knew he was throwing, you know, a rock at them. It was for them, as you guys know, it surfaced later. But anyways, again, Conejo grabbed a liking to him, and the homie from East Los, I forgot if he was a wrestling, right? But there's no difference, right? He uh he had issues, right, within himself with what he was doing on the yard in the form of habit, no rutina. So remember the first year we went out there, he eventually could not hold to the point to start throwing up on the yard, right? And it's common, you see it a lot from homies that get back there from the line, and Tigre disciplined them. You know, Once we go back in, you're gonna keep doing rutina for an hour out loud. It was just that he wanted to make camaradas. If we really look at it, me personally, I believed in making camaradas, but not to that extreme. You had to be more understanding. 2 weeks is just it's just very little time to give someone to get with the program. They're there running in plays, so they're not on the main line. They did it back there for a reason. He didn't look at him like that though. He was a member. You know, so by the second week he couldn't keep up. We ended the yard, and Conejo, I remember he was speaking to myself and to a couple homies when Tigre came up, and he basically said, "Hey, I just want to let you know the next yard we come out, he can't hang with the full rutina. I'm gonna need one of you to whack him." So us being sureños, us saying anything besides dispuesto, let's boogie, it would be considered going against the green, right? Keep in mind, Tigre did not cross who he wanted whack. not whack with any other Billy on that yard. It was just like Frank B. They did it, and they didn't need nobody's blessings to do what they wanted to do. Period. There was a couple times that, believe me, Tigre snapped at other members, and it was quiet on the yard. Right, never heard nothing from it again. It's the type of I'm not gonna say respect. I would personally call it fear. If you were there, I'm sure you would agree with me. But anyways, when he said this, the vato conejo, he made a face. I mean, a face real noticeable, right? Again, he was one of them individuals that thought he was chingon, right? And you allow pride to get to your head that much, there's always going to be someone that's going to bring you back down to earth. It's just how the system works. And there's no such thing de que yo soy más bravo que the street dog. Nah, there's always somebody más chingón with hands, if not with steel. It's just how a prison works. But Tigre seen it, and Tigre had just one of them snaps. That was his attitude. And he told him, "What's up, Conejo? You don't like what I'm saying? You want to speak up for the vato?" And Conejo at first says, "I just think, he's coming off a habit. Ooh, well, first and foremost, you know, they're dead weight. How the hell am I supposed to have someone like that take care of my back in a long, long fight? He's not going to hang." So they're dead weight. They're taking space. They're playing the funk to be part of the causa, and in reality, when push comes to shove, they just can't be there. Keep in mind that Hogato was back there for removing somebody. So, in a sense, I agree, disagree, right? He wasn't that way. Well, and the agreement part is back there, at least he was acting as so, right? Because Hogato wasn't heavy set, not nada. He just, he liked to slam. He liked that vitamin too. And Tigre in it. He didn't respect nobody that used, including his own brothers. And Tigre said, "I really don't care what you think." And again, the vato made a face and he said, "Look, do you have a piece on you?" Conejo had said, "Chales." He said, "Well, look, next time we keep this in this circle, I'm going to bring my piece, you're going to bring your piece, and we're going to disagree the way we're supposed to. Me and you, and we'll see where it leads." And Conejos at first stood quiet, right? I'm gonna be honest with everybody. When he stood quiet, me and another homie from Orange County, we're gonna jump on dude and whack him, cause that's what we're supposed to do, right? That's our guidelines as a sureño when it comes to being around members. He was disrespecting. At that point, he was getting crazy with Tigre. It's not permitted. Of course, I see it a lot different now, but regardless, at that moment, that's where my mind was at. And it's the first time I seen a Billy stop it. And Tigre said, "Chales, nah, Chino." And the homie, I'm trying to think of his name. It was a small dude, Barney. I believe it was Barney. But anyways, it's not important for the story, right? He basically tell us boys, nah, I'm talking to this individual like a man. I don't want this to leave this circle. Next yard we're gonna boogie, and Conejo broke it down like a straight hyena, right? That's what them level 12s usually always do, right? And said, nah, señor, mis respetos, and all this witty witty wow wow. And Tigre said, nah, I'm gonna put it to you like this, Conejo. Since you're not gonna man up with me, what I said still stands. But if by next yard your homeboy can't hold Rutina to the fullest, I'm telling you three, I want both these cats removed. And what was said, it was written in stone, and that was it. Unfortunately, we didn't have that opportunity because level 12 individuals that always walk with their chest pumped up, yo soy más chingón que tú, and he, ha, 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 and I done this, that, they're speaking out their neck because they never done it, you know. It's just, they got a good mouthpiece on them, right? They go telling all this pato tales when in reality they sit down to pee. But the point of the story is they never went out. Him and that vato, they never went out to yard. For one, I think Conejo knew, and I probably can assure you, Tigre was going to whack him. He himself was going to whack him off the yard, regardless if the vato kept rutina or not. Because it's how his character is. So, anyways, I tell this story to basically put a base behind Tigre, right? Now, I've been asked, is it true he's out? I verified wherever I did, and yes, it's true. Like I said before, last I heard, he was appealing with a lot of action, right? He had a lot of action to hit the streets, but it's been a while, and I guess he got that right, to get out. And like I said, I would never wish prison on no one, regardless how much I like you or not. Me being a double lifer at one point, it would be ignorant on my part to even go there, right, and hope for somebody to go to prison. You know, everybody deserves that chance. If a scandalous individual like myself got it one way or another, you know, I believe everybody should. Now what they do with that second chance, that's on everybody, right? But yeah, it's true. He's out. Now the second question is, everybody speaking about he's everywhere. Yeah, I heard the same thing. And that's Tigre. That's why I put the backstory on how prideful he is. You know, that's never gonna go away. For how many years he held his ground, not telling, because you gotta keep in mind he's no good in the Emmett, but he ain't no snitch. He ain't no rat. He ain't no weenie. He ain't go out weenie. And another thing is those that have been around Tigre, including carnales, or should I say more so carnales, they fear him. They could play the part and say giri giri gara gara, but he at one point was pushing an agenda that was going to eliminate a lot of carnales, and they allowed it to happen for a while. Had a lot of people riding with them the same way of thinking that at the end of the day, they sat down to P2 and left them alone. The only one that said Chales and whacked him was Chato. And for those that know how that went, it wasn't easy, right? I say that to say Tigre is waiting for that. We're all thinking somebody's going to eventually try to earn their bones by taking them out. I bet you Tigre is waiting on that. And it's always easy to be said, but with an individual like him, they're going to have a war in their hands. Believe me, he's real confident in, in what he can do, even if he can do them or not, just like he was when he was doing Rutina, right? So the bottom line is, yes, he's out. Yes, he's around and he don't care. And my belief is he's either trying to fix things, which everyone knows is impossible because he went across against our whole organization pretty much to create something new, or waiting to prove a point because that's Tigre. But anyways, I hope I was able to put some sense into his character. Again, the insight on this is the answer to the question, right? On how Tigre is, that is facts. He's out, and basically the things that want us, homie, regardless where at in the ladder you're at, right? Southside or Sureño, Campo, Camarada. It's the type of things you're gonna face, especially now. Look where we're at right now. We're in a position that I personally believe the Phillies are messing up, and I'm not gonna speak on it because I don't want to be the one to throw poison in it because I think it's a good thing for the causa. You guys know my belief ain't with the camarada, ain't with the Sureño movement. But now they're given authority to do something they weren't allowed to do ever without repercussions. Is it a mistake? Is it an opening for something bigger to come? Who knows, right? With this said, again, push for freedom. Love your neighborhood, love your homies, love what you are, but always stay true to yourself and loyal to your loved ones. P.S. Real fast, sorry. I just want to invite everybody to please stop in after 10 a.m. in the reaction channel. I will be uploading every day if God allows it there. And I got some interesting topics for those that have the time or can give me the time. Please also give me your opinion. Again, I'm trying to blend in and show the same love I'm being shown with everyone. Gracias.